Hi guys, welcome to Everyday Weird with Nikki Alonga, and this is just an extension of the podcast. So, as some of you guys know, or some of you don't, I usually have a podcast that is on all different channels wherever you listen to your podcast, and we decided that why don't we try a video and let's see how it goes. Maybe I will be an influencer. I can't believe I'm going to be saying welcome to my channel. You know, I used to feel a certain way about that. Now I guess I can't. But yeah, so welcome to my channel. Welcome to another episode of Everyday Weird. This is going to also be available on the podcast as an audio. And today I'm just introducing this new thing that I'm attempting again, which is very, very strange for me. But you know what? New things are always great. So, and welcome to my home, by the way. This is my home. I'm very, very, very proud of it. 2021 has been an amazing year so far, at least for me, to say the least. Somehow the pandemic came up with opportunities to learn about myself, opportunities to find new learning opportunities, new job opportunities, new ways to explore life, and new ways to be actually very happy about my life. So I'm very grateful to have moved. I've been here for 2 weeks and I have a wonderful housemate, and I can't wait for us to actually have an episode about young women moving out of their parents' home before they get married here in Rwanda. Kuko rwose ni ibintu bitangaje. But yeah, so we fought the fights. I was living by myself before, and then just in order to be able to afford an upgrade, to afford a better neighborhood, a better house, I was grateful to have met my housemate, and she was up for it and I was up for it, and we decided, you know what, let's do it. So we've been here for roughly 2 weeks, still enjoying the space, still feeling very mesmerized about how we actually were able to get such a space. So I'm very grateful, and I'm going to be able to talk about things cyane cyane nkatwe abanyarwanda, especially the young Rwandans. How can we upgrade our lives internally but also externally in a healthy way? How can we have better friendships? How can we love ourselves more? How can we talk about taboo subjects that we don't usually talk about? How do we live fuller lives? Yeah? How do we live lives that are better? How do we have deeper conversations? How do we ask better questions to our friends? There's somebody who said, if you ask boring questions, everyone around you will be boring. But it's your fault because you're the one asking boring questions. So if we learn to have better conversations, then we'll have better, more interesting friendships, more exciting relationships, etc, etc, etc. So once again, this is Everyday Weird, and I'm so excited. I'm just grateful to be able to share my home with you, to share my nuggets of wisdom with you. This is now video, which is very weird, but you know, I guess like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. And also, of course, a big shout out to my brother who's always producing these things and pushing me to new heights. So if you like and subscribe, you will be paying for our life improvement, actually. Sibyo se. Anyway, today I'm going to come back to a topic that I've already talked about before, which is how we relate to one another. And this is something, I don't know why I'm so passionate about mental health. I'm so passionate about mental health. I'm super passionate about the way our brain function and the way we relate to other people. So one of the podcasts that were super successful had several listeners from all over the world, actually even like, was it Uzbekistan or Kazakhstan? It was a weird country. And it got there. So I just decided for this new launch of the YouTube channel to come back to it. And this is nothing other than the attachment style. So this is what we're going to talk about, how it affects us, how it affects our lives, our relationships, our friendships, our workspaces, everything. And hopefully towards the end, how do we move to a better space with our attachment styles? Yeah. Attachment styles is something that psychologists are now becoming more free to talk about as a new way that people are relating to each other. So according to scientists or psychologists, therapists, whatever we want to call them, we have 4 attachment styles. And depending on the editing that my brother is going to be doing, maybe they'll be like showing somewhere, but they might not. But we will move towards that in the future. But we have 4 attachment styles. And what are attachment styles? Attachment styles is almost like a story that we tell ourselves to relate to other people. It's an internal story. Sometimes it's a very subconscious story that we've told ourselves that is actually the main leader as to how we relate to other people. And this is deeply rooted in the way we related to the first people we related to, which is our father and mothers. Mostly mothers, because they're the ones we're the closest to. So yes, 4 attachment styles. The one that I am hoping to walk towards and to, kwitunganya no kwiboneza, I guess, kugira ngo I get there. Sorry about the mixing of the languages, but I'm Rwandan proudly, for those who are not Rwandan and listening. We have 4 attachments. The first one is the secure attachment style. The secure attachment style is the best attachment style. Those are the healthy people that we look at and we're like, when I grow up, can I be like you? Please, I beg. And these are people who, as children, first of all, as adults, these are people who have a very healthy self-story. A narrative that they have about themselves in their heads is very healthy, is very loving, is very gracious and grateful. Ntago bivuga yuko bateta. Oya, bivuga ntago bivuga ko ari abanebwe cyangwa ko biyemera. No, it's people who have a healthy self-view, a healthy image of self and how they relate to others. They are hopeful that when they interact with other people, they will be received, they will be welcomed, and they will be loved. These are people who, when they come to you into your life, they're not worried about losing you. They're not worried about offending you. They're mostly worried about being their authentic selves, and they're also mostly worried about whether you actually are forming an authentic connection. So these people then, the securely attached people, when they were children, or the environment, the kind of environment that they grew up in looks like this. So attachment styles, if I haven't said it already, is some scientists say that it's set between 0 to about 3 years. So this is where you set this kind of mental story, which is very important to parents who are listening. Make sure that you are talking to your child positively, that you are interacting with your child in a healthy way. Bya binda abanyarwanda bavuga ngo yongo yumuteruye cyane ngo azateta ngo ngurimo uramutetesha cyane. Do that. Let me tell you, pamper your child. Tell them they're beautiful, tell them they are strong, tell them they are smart, compliment them. Because life is going to be doing a very good job at breaking their hearts. If you want to break their hearts before life breaks their hearts, what are you doing? What kind of parents? Like some parents, what are we doing? I was going to say some things, but let me just remember that this is a YouTube channel. It's no longer my podcast. Now you can see my face. It's very hard. So anyway, so these are children, when they cried, they were responded to. Remember that children, the only language that they have, especially up to 3 years, is only crying. It's only noise. For them, noise is language. So when they're crying, they're not necessarily, sometimes they're not upset, sometimes they're just trying to communicate something. And when they communicate and they are responded to, it means they will grow up as adults who believe that when I'm communicating, I will be responded to. When I need something, I will have a healthy story that tells me, ask for what you need. So these are people who called for their parents and their parents responded in a timely manner and in a consistent manner. So some people, today the parents is going to respond, tomorrow they're not, today, tomorrow, this on and off. But these are children who were lucky enough to have people who were consistent in their lives, who were present in their lives, who made sure that they were spending quality, uninterrupted time with them. By the way, a child only needs, an hour of undivided attention with you. And then some nuggets of time where you share love and affection and kind words. So for parents who are out there, let's make sure that we learn ways to create secure children who will not be validation seekers, because you validated them in the first place. You've told them what they're good at. Urabizi ukuntu abanyarwanda batinya kubwira abana babo ko ari beza ngo bataziyemera, none se nutabimubwira n'inzabimubwira ngaho mujye ariko se buriya twabaye ikidisi ntago dusanzwe. But these things of I can't tell them they're cute because I don't want them, so basically I will tell them they're ugly. Those are very unhealthy behaviors, psychopathic behaviors almost. So you have these children who are secure because they know dad and mom matter to me and I matter to them. So what happens is they go out in the world, kuko bavuye hano mu rugo bafite security. They attempt more things, they try new things, they are curious because they know they are safe. So those are the people we want to become. Now let's go to the other people who are insecurely attached. So we have, unfortunately, people who are insecurely attached. Sorry about the English because it's not my first language, it's my fourth language. So the type of people who are insecurely attached, we have 3 of them. As you remember, there's 4 attachment styles. Insecurely attached people are people who were raised with people who did not have time to raise children. That's just it. Or maybe they had time, but the circumstances of life were harsh. As Rwandans, we are either children of refugees, or we were survivors, or children of perpetrators, or there's a large story around who we are that made us the children that we are today, which is mostly not securely attached people. And it's okay. It's not to say that we are bad people. It's just to say that the way we relate to other people must evolve and change to be healthier. So person number 1 is anxiously attached people, which is me. Welcome to my world of anxiously attached. Anxiously attached people were raised by parents who were busy, or not necessarily busy, but parents who were inconsistent with their presence. Inconsistency is when if I cry today, maybe I will be held, maybe I will not, maybe I will be held, maybe I will get what I need, maybe I will not. So it's very like I don't know where I stand. Maybe because the parent is busy, bakadusigira abakozi Rwanda. Maybe because the parent is running, it's the middle of the war, it's the middle of running for your life, and you don't get those needs. It's not to blame our parents, it's just to realize the source of where these things have come from. Yeah? So if there was this on and off, sometimes, this creates an instability in a child, and their response can be anxiety to wonder, and what happens is a child starts learning their parents. Some scientists or therapists have said that there's children who become very attuned, very sensitive to how the parent is walking to their room. Let's say bari muri berceau, they're in a crib and they listen to the footstep, and then they get to start learning that when the footsteps are a certain way, the parent comes, or when the footsteps are a certain way, they don't come. And this should never happen, that a baby has to learn their parent. It should be the other way around. But we live in an imperfect world, right? So what happens is that they start being very sensitive to change, sensitive to distance, because they are not certain that presence is guaranteed. And such children, and one of the things that is actually very interesting that I heard that they do is they also kind of manipulate their crying. When I cry like this, my parent comes. When I cry like this, my parent doesn't come. And that's very sad, but that's also a characteristic of an anxiously attached child. So when they grow up, it keeps happening. They are the kind of people who notice that you changed your haircut, noticed a very slight change in your life. They especially now notice your mood. Those people who are always asking you look sad, you look upset, they're not necessarily asking you, they're mostly worried that you're distancing from them. So if you are listening to this, maybe one way you can change conversations with your friends is to say, no, I'm here, I'm fine, I'm with you, because they are very sensitive in distancing, in noticing someone who's distancing. And it might be true that this person is distancing. It might be not true, because it's just traumas and triggers in their heads, right? So these are the type of people who, if you don't text them right away, they will be upset. If you are that person, dating is going to be very interesting for you, honey. Yeah, welcome to the club, yeah? So, they didn't text me today, or they texted me late, or this. So these are responses to distancing. Your core story is not that this person was too busy to text you, because people have full lives. It's actually, you're like, if they didn't text me on time, that means they're leaving. That's your baby child, your child self, that's telling you another story, a trauma story. And we don't even know, because all of this is happening very subconsciously, yeah? So that's the anxious person. Another thing that an anxious person does is that they manipulate stories to get a reaction. Because as babies, they had to cry louder, to cry in a different way to get held. So as adult, ni wa muntu ukubwira ngo my God, ngo noneho ngo wa mutwe wanjye ugiye guturika neza ngo ndapfuye. Kandi is just a mild headache. But they don't feel like they will be believed if they tell you the story as it is. So they either exaggerate the story or underestimate the story. And it's very sad, because it's very hard to get them to tell a story as it is, because in their heads, it's going differently. And such people also have something that is called the fear of abandonment. They are so scared of you leaving that they will do anything to cling to you. Uziba bandi bakundana ngo bakarwara amour, bakagira, those panic attacks. It's a real thing, by the way, to panic, and you panic so much that you get sick. It's actually a thing that if we were empathetic enough, we could have realized that this is just a person who's anxious, and it's making them react in a very bad way. And physically even getting sick. It's a panic attack. They just probably, especially in high school, needed someone to take them through breathing exercises, to tell them kind words. But what we did, because we knew less, was to make fun of them. And that's very sad. So anyway, if that's you, this is one of the most painful and dreadful dating, especially for dating for intimate relationships, but it also comes in friendships. We leave friends very fast. We just are not very stable to be with, because we have very high expectations of people, because the higher the expectation, we will just tell ourselves the story that they will disappoint us and we will be safe. So that's the anxious, and maybe next time we will talk about how to date as an anxious person, or how to be dated as an anxious person. Number two of the insecurely attached people. So we have three types of people who are insecurely attached, and the one hero that's securely attached, please clap for yourselves. So the number two is the avoidant. The avoidant person is mostly insecurely attached. So the avoidant person has the same type of parent as the anxiously attached parent, right? It's the same type of parent. Sometimes they are there, sometimes they are not. It's this dance of like, I don't know, I'm not sure, I don't know, I'm not sure. What the avoidant person does is block emotions. They say, I'm gonna be independent, I'm not gonna need you, I'm just gonna shut you out, like, bye. So they become very hyper independent. They become very closed off to emotions, very closed off to intimacy. If you get close to them, they will run away. If you get close to them, they will run away. Because their core fear is, if I rely to your affection too much, I will die or I will lose myself. By the way, it is proven that children who are not held as babies often actually die for real, like not metaphorically, they actually pass away. Because it's that important. That need for attention and affection and being held is that vital. And we keep that need as adults. So some babies decide, I do not want to put myself in this vulnerability to need you. Ntago nshaka kugukenera. And then in Rwanda tubyita ibindi bintu, ntago nshaka kunshishamo ijisho, we try to be cool about it. And avoidant people are the kind of people that, they are known as the mysterious ones, and the funny thing is they are very good at attracting the anxious people. I will talk about eventually how in dating these cycles attract each other, these type of people attract each other, but the characteristics of an avoidant. Again, I'm not an avoidant person, so I will not know in depth how they are. I'm anxious, have a mixture of both, but avoidant people tend to not want to rely on anybody else for help. So they shut down emotional needs, they're very good at compartmentalizing problems. They teach themselves to not care, to forget or to ignore, to busy themselves at work, to not connect. They are always distracting you with jokes, they're distracting you with other things, but do not, I guess, focus on them or focus on the issue at hand, because the vulnerability to them is very scary, is very terrifying, just like anxious people, but then they react differently, right? My housemate and I were talking and we realized that I was anxious, obviously, and she's avoidant. So it's very interesting when we talk about our friendships or relationships, it's very interesting to see how she would react in the same scenario. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, why me? I'm not reacting like that. So another thing also is that avoidant people, of course, they seek this closeness, this intimacy, but they're so scared of it that they will run away from it. So when you start getting close, those people you start texting in the first couple of days and it's very exciting and they're very good at texting you back. And then eventually they just ghost you. They're like, it becomes too much for them. It becomes overwhelming. So I'm not very good at avoidance, but there are resources out there. If you feel like some of the things I said relate more to you, just do your homework, go read a book, listen to a podcast, because the goal is for us to go to secure. Because some people think avoidant people are cool because they have no emotions, but they do. They just stuff them down. And that's not healthy, especially when they're out here obviously getting married to people, giving birth to children. And if they haven't done the work to become secure, these children are also not going to have a secure attachment style. So it's very important to all of us to actually do the homework we need to do to move to secure. The last one I was saying is the disorganized attachment style. The disorganized attachment style, or preoccupied attachment style. Again, do your own homework, because I'm not a psychologist. I did do a 6 months training on counseling and therapy, but I did not formally study this in school. I just did this 6 month thing that, was an eye opener to all these different issues. So the disorganized attachment style, also known as the fearful attachment style. And this one is the sadder one. It's almost like, on top of being inconsistent, weird, not present, not very active, on top of those things, this parent is also choosing to be violent. So the parent is also choosing to be violent, either physically violent or yelling, all these different things. So the home is actually very unstable, very, very unstable. And what happens to children who are raised in these places is that the source of violence and the source of care is the same. Excuse me. So the source of violence and the source of care is the same. The person umhibere nina umhubita. You see what that confusion creates. The person who so these are homes where the parents are either addicted to some things, or drugs, or alcohol, whatever it is, or just pure weird psychopathic people. And so the child will grow up connecting violence and love, and that's very, very dangerous. They will want closeness but also actively fight it, actively disorganize it. These are people that sometimes you hear stories, your friends are telling you some stuff and you're like, oh my god, that's very toxic. I don't know if they're necessarily toxic. The toxicity we define as toxicity is what is going on to a disorganized person, but what's happening is that they tend to be very violent. They tend to be very diminishing of your self-esteem, very gaslighting. They mix love and violence at the same time. They want your love, but they also want to push it away, and then they want it and they push it away, and then ugasanga uyu munsi yakuguriye igitenge cya superwax, ejo yagukubise, ejo yakuguriye indabyo, ejo yagukubise, and then you wabaye nka Jackie Chan. So you will not know where you stand in this person's life. And one of the things I tell my ladies, and hopefully my gents as well, if you're listening, look, you are not Jesus Christ, you are not Buddha. If you see people who are beyond your ability to stay, be it in friendships, who are beyond your ability to be present, to be whole, listen, walk away. Honestly, walk away. Heaven or whatever else rewards you're looking for will not disappear because you have chosen yourself. Walk away from people who are not making you feel secure. As much as some people have created this disorganized or insecure attachment style from childhood, some other people actually who are secure can lose their security or secure attachment from unhealthy friendships and unhealthy intimate relationships. So you want to learn as you move to secure. Some of the tips are to do positive self-talk, and as I'm concluding, as you probably can see, some of the ways to heal, to move from insecurely attached to securely attached, is positive self-talk. Talk to yourself as you would have talked to this child. You are smart, I'm smart, I'm doing a good job, I'm doing this. Rwandans, we hate positive self-talk because ngo turi kwiteteje, ngo turi kwirya, ngo turi kuba blonde. Uzaba umu blonde, nge nzaba umu blonde, kandi ugasanga mbayeho wowe tugusanze mu cyoba hano, sibyo? So try to want within yourself to move from insecure to secure, because insecure people, first of all, we have a very low self-esteem. We have a very small voice, not physically small, but mentally. You don't assert yourself. You don't put boundaries in place. You don't tell people that you are upset or that you don't like something. You over-sacrifice yourself. Look, again, you are not the Buddha. You are not Jesus Christ. You want to choose yourself, because the more you choose yourself, the more you are showing up as a healthy person. So positive self-talk, read books, listen to lyrics that are positive. What else? Hang out with securely attached people. How do you find them? I have no idea. If you find them, holler at me. But hang out with people that make you feel good. Bya bindi by'abanyarwanda ngo nintajyayo batazavuga ko ntagiyeyo. Don't go. If your heart is telling you to not go, don't go. Go to places that make you feel good. At least you deserve that. If you have friends that don't make you feel good, cut them off. You know, choose yourself actively. Choose yourself every single day. And that's one way that you will move to being securely attached. Another thing is, don't date shenanigans. If someone is not doing the right thing, listen, walk away. Walk away from things that are not working for you. Walk away from things that are not serving your soul, serving your heart. You know, there are things that you're doing for survival, which jobs, this and this. But in your friendship, in your social and emotional life, you have the power to choose. You have the power to say, this works for me. You have the power to say, this does not work for me. And this is one way to listen to your own voice and say, bino bintu ntago mbikunze, ntago mbyishimiye, and then you walk away. It's very hard. It's simple to say this, but I'm also learning. I'm learning to choose myself every single day. I'm learning to love myself every single day. And I hope you will join on this journey. If that was you, feel free to comment below. Or to like tag, share this with a friend, you know, and let's become healthier Rwandans on this planet, yeah? And hugs to everybody. Thank you so much for listening.